I'm Robin Payton and I'm a clinical nurse consultant in Murrumbidgee.
We have some information and some equipment laid out in front of us here. Do you want to talk us through a little bit about what we've got?
Yes, the first thing I suppose we've got is a puffer. And everybody's seen the blue puffer. People carry that round all of the time. Now, the way to take that, it's really important that you make sure that's in date and that you give it a shake and that you then take the cap off, but leave it with the cap on when it's in your handbag, because somebody once inhaled a piece of Trivial Pursuit because it was rolling around in the handbag without the top on. So it's important that you keep the dust cap on it. Give it a shake and then take a deep breath in as you're squirting it down. The safer way to take it so you get more of the medication is to use a spacer. And a spacer just gives you more time to be able to breathe it in. It also helps to break down the particles in the puffer so that as you breathe it in, it's a finer mist. So it doesn't all sit on the back of your throat. It gets further down into your lungs, which is where it's needed. The other thing that we've got here is an action plan. And an action plan just tells you what to do when you're well, so what medicines to take every day. And then if you start feeling a bit short of breath and you find that your medicines aren't holding you as well, then you follow the next section of what to do. And there might be some added in medicines to take. And then the last section is what to do in an emergency. So, of course, with an emergency, you would get straight to the emergency department or to the doctor. And it's always good to take that action plan with you, because if you can't speak, you might be able to point to where you're up to in your action plan. And that saves a lot of time, and the doctors then can just move straight on with what they need to give you next.
How do people get these action plans? Is that something a GP gives to their patients?
They're written by a GP. Sometimes if they come and see an asthma educator might give you a blank one, but it is up to the doctor to write it out because it's prescribing. So an asthma educator can't write them. They can explain it to you, but it's up to the doctor to write the action plan for you.
So next to the puffer we also have a big plastic cone. What's that for?
That's a peak flow meter. Now, some people do take their own peak flows. It measures, it tells you a little bit about your lung function, but it's not a complete lung function test.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Graham from Charles Sturt University. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on down here today?
Yes, we're just trying to bring up awareness about the issue coming up in the next few months, which is the likelihood of high pollen counts, particularly from ryegrass pollens, and the chance that we'll get some spring thunderstorms. And that combination of those two events occurring together is likely to trigger asthma in some individuals. So it might be the appropriate trigger for those people who have allergic type asthma.
How do the spring thunderstorms affect asthma sufferers?
Well, the issue is the combination with the pollen count is that the pollen grains are usually too large to get all the way into the lungs, that they actually get trapped in the airways before that and give you a bit of a cough and so on. But when the thunderstorms come, because of the change in the humidity of the air, the grains tend to rupture into little granules and they get small enough to actually get into the lung, and so they're much more likely to trigger irritation and an asthmatic response in the airways.
Does it only affect people who already have a predisposition to asthma?
Yes, in this case the trigger is an atopy or a built-in immune response to that particular allergen. And so one of the things with the transient population in Wagga, all the university students and the army recruits coming in, quite often they're surprised that they have these breathing symptoms and they don't believe it's asthma because they've never had asthma before in their lives. But because they haven't been exposed to this particular level of allergen, of the ryegrass pollens, this would be a new experience for them. So it comes as a surprise.
What can people do to be on the lookout for any of the effects of asthma?
Well, a couple of things that we've set up, and part of this promotion is that we have a website at the university that people can log on to and register. And when the combination of high pollen counts and thunderstorm asthma looks like approaching, we can send them an SMS or an email alert just to say the conditions are likely to trigger their asthma, and they can take evasive action, keeping indoors as much as possible so they're not as exposed to the allergen.
Do you find that many people do plan in advance?
Certainly the people that have asthma certainly become aware of it and are keen to get the alerts when they're coming through, because we sometimes talk about it as an epidemic when all of a sudden we get a severe thunderstorm and high pollen counts, and next thing our patients at the Wagga Base Hospital is inundated with people, and they certainly don't want that experience again, to have to go back into the hospital. So if they know in advance, they can make some changes to their activity and be sure to have their asthma puffers with them.
A couple of the club members have come down to have a chat to us.
Hello, my name is Gabrielle Shaw and I'm part of the Wagga Asthma Swimming Club.
Your asthma gets worse when the spring thunderstorms happen, right?
Yeah, and when it hits a few hours earlier, I have to take my puffer, and then they just know that it's coming, like the thunderstorm.
So what happens to you that couple of hours before the thunderstorm comes? What do you feel?
Well, I just I start to wheeze, and so I just know to take my puffer.
And the puffer helps?
Yeah.
Yep. And other than that, you pretty much have your asthma under control?
Yeah, it's just normal.
Yeah.
So,
and has being a part of the swim club helped you?
yeah, a lot.
And you enjoy swimming?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Liz, and I like swim with the Asthma Swim Club.
What made you join the Asthma Swim Club?
Well, when I was 8, I had to go up to the specialist in Sydney, and my GP kept telling me to join swimming because it would help my asthma. So then the specialist was like, yeah, you should do that as well. So then I joined, and yeah, have done it ever since.
How do you find that swimming helps your asthma?
Well, I don't have to take my reliever as much, but I just have to have it at the end of the pool. But it's done made a great difference. So.
And you enjoy swimming now?
Yeah, I love it.
Do you have many friends that are affected by asthma?
My best friend, she has asthma as well, so it's good that she's there as well. So we can do stuff together and everything. It's good.
Does she swim?
No, she doesn't. I've tried to get her into the club, but she's not a swimmer. She's a dancer. So.
Respiratory clinical nurse consultant Robert Payton. What are the warning signs for asthma?
The warning signs for asthma are that you get really quite short of breath. And it may be that leading up to that period of time, your hay fever and your sinus is worse, because this year, I think the season is going to be a real challenge to asthma, because the pollens are going to be higher because we've got really good crops after the winter rains. So the message is that we're really wanting people to go and get their action plans updated and make sure they take their preventative medications and have their reliever medications with them all of the time, just in case their asthma breaks through.
So if someone's never had asthma before and they are in the Riverina district, how would you encourage them to get prepared?
That's a really important question, because we do have a moving population. We've got the Army, we've got the Air Force, and we've got the university. As well as that, we've got more an immigration program running here as well. So a lot of people may not have experienced these climates before. So certainly if they atopic, so that they're getting hay fever, they're getting itchy eyes and itchy nose and itchy throat, and they start coughing a lot and maybe having a bit of a wheeze and having breathing difficulties, they certainly need to go to their GP, have it assessed, and then take their treatment for their hay fever as well as their asthma and their sinus, and so they know what to do in an emergency.
And you would recommend, if it's out of hours and someone feels like they're having an asthma attack or having issues, to go straight to the hospitals?
Absolutely, and certainly don't drive themselves there. Get somebody else to drive them there, or get the ambulance, because there's been people who've had accidents simply because they've blacked out on the way to the hospital. So it is important that we take it seriously. So people can lead normal lives. I mean, that's why the kids are swimming, because the fitter they are, the stronger their muscles are, then the less likely they are to have a really life-threatening episode.